Today I'm out walking in the drizzle. So far, there's nobody on the road. And I wanted to talk to you about homeschooling when you have a very busy 3-year-old in the house. This is a very special challenge, especially if they're busy, like my youngest son was when he was 3. It's a challenge when you're trying to teach a 7th grader, a 7-year-old, a 3-year-old, and you also have babies, or whatever your special mix of ages and stages in your house is. And you know that the moment you put all your attention on the older child, the 3-year-old has the ability to dismantle every electronic device in the house, put peanut butter where peanut butter has no place being, or getting into all kinds of trouble. So what do you do with a 3-year-old? I have a couple ideas. It's going to come to you ramble style, as I'm walking down the street. The very first thing that I would encourage you to do is to weave nap time or rest time into your day so that it's non-negotiable. And this is how I did it. By the time the kids are 2, they start to think that they don't need a nap anymore, but they do, at least 3 out of 7 days a week, right? So I didn't learn this until I had at least 3 or 4 kids, but I began to protect nap time after lunch and stand and stick to it until my kid's 5th birthday. They actually graduated away from nap time on their 5th birthday. So what did I do? I created a pocket of time in the afternoon, typically about a half an hour after lunch, that was designated rest time. Everybody in the house, including myself, went quiet for an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the season of life that we were in. And the kids were given a place that they were allowed to stick and stay. It almost always was on their bed, especially if they were little, or in their crib. The older kids got a place on the sofa. And this is what I would tell my little guys. When my youngest son's super busy, that kid could run literally from sunup until midnight and not stop for a second. But if I could get him to pause, just stay still for 20 seconds, his body would crash. He needed the rest. So what I would do is we would sit down at rest time, and every single day I would say the same thing. You have to stay on your bed. I've given you a couple books to look at, but you may not get down, you may not play with toys, but you may quietly read. Even though he couldn't read, looking at pictures is reading, remember that. So you may stay on your bed, you may read. And then I would lean closer. Sometimes your body will take over and it will decide it wants to sleep. If your body tricks you and you fall asleep, I promise you, when nap time is over, I will come wake you up so that you don't miss anything. Deal? Deal. And then I kept my word. 3 out of 5 days, 3 out of 5 naps, this child would crash hard. He would fall asleep. But I always made sure that I snuck in and I woke him up so that he knew that I wasn't going to let him miss out. There's something about that fear of missing out. Oh, marketers know this. They play on you, if you just do email marketing or you look at your feed, they play on, there's timers going, there's bells and whistles, there's limited time, all these things. That fear of missing out is powerful, and it can cause your littles to not want to nap. So the very first thing I would do is I would start training that time in, but I would make it a standard for the entire house. The older kids can do quiet reading time, or they can do very quiet lessons with mom. And then the littles can all do their rest time, where sleep is optional, but rest is not. Sleep is optional, but rest is not. We need to teach our kids how to rest. And it starts right there when they decide at 3 that they can take on the world and that they don't need to surrender to authority. Rest is not optional. So start there, rest. The other thing that I did, 2 things. One, I went to a workshop one time that was called activity bags or busy bags or something. And I left with Ziploc bags filled with things like pipe cleaners and pasta elbow noodles, plastic spoons with big letters and little letters on them for matching, a colored spaghetti. And I had these activity bags at home that were designed to be a 5 to 15 minute activity that if I needed to work with somebody, an older child, I could pull out an activity bag and I could give that to the younger child, and a big truck's gonna go by. So big noise in a second. Dun, 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 there it goes. Big truck. I do reel. I don't spend a lot of time editing my videos, which I know you can tell, but that's okay because it's not about being fake and phony. This is real. Homeschooling and life mixed together. It's important that we let them flirt. Activity bags were a kit, everything that a child needed to do a very simple activity. It could be as easy as index cards and a hole punch. And all they do is sit there and punch holes into the index card. Or it could be lacing or some kind of stickers. My little guy used to love to put stickers all over his little toes. So he would sit on the table while I was teaching one of his brothers, and he would put stickers all over himself. He loved it. So busy bags. You can even Google activity bags or busy bags. Don't overthink it. It can be as easy as colored rice and egg cartons. What I do recommend is that you always first mock play how you play with an activity bag. So you sit one child next to you and they're pretending to do school. You pull out an activity bag and you say, this is what activity time will look like while I'm working with Sam. Stephen, you will work on your activity bag. If you decide that you don't want to do this anymore, clean up your activity bag and I will give you one more. That makes all the difference in the world so that they don't feel trapped into the activity. Gonna be walking by, somebody walking their dog. So activity bags are huge. The last thing that I did was create a kindergarten style environment. Just a sec. Good morning. So think like a kindergarten teacher. Create a poster that has things on it like Lego time, book time, Play-Doh or art, outside, show, things that your little will enjoy doing. And then have it be this colorful poster and give them a magnet that is there. So it goes on your refrigerator, they have their magnet, and you have a timer. You build them up to this. So for this morning, you get to choose 3 of the stations to play. The way that the stations work is that you will start your station and I will set the timer. When the timer goes off, you have 2 more minutes in that station. If you're done, go ahead and clean up. If you would like an extra few minutes, you let me know then. And you train in this rotation of stations where my kids' favorite station was standing at the kitchen sink on a chair with an apron, and they just got to wash things like the sink. Whew, they could make that sink shine. They loved to put toys in there and scrub them with soap and bubbles. It was fantastic. So think creatively about 3 or 4 things that your child likes to do, and then rotate in 10 to 20 minute station times so that you're sitting at the table, they're in the same room with you, but they do water play, ding, they clean up. Then you take a 1-minute break and you move them to the next thing. Lego time, they play, ding, and they clean up. And what ends up happening is you buy yourself 20 to 40 minutes at a time that you can work with an older child, and you break the stations up so that they do 2 stations and then they get a snack. Important. Then they do 2 stations and then they get another snack, or everybody goes outside to play. The trick with 3-year-olds is remembering that you're basically wrangling cats and you're trying to give them just enough to do so that they're busy for a burst of time so that you can work with another child. Your older kids do not usually need you to sit for an hour at a time next to them with full concentration. What they typically need is a little bit of direction and then just your presence to keep them motivated. So you can kind of be working with the older, with that being the majority of your attention, and then directing the younger child through a station. Now, what do they get? They get the ability to do something that's they don't normally get to do. Do not let them do these activities when it's not school time. That's a secret tip. These are fun school activities, but be creative with them. Things that worked are gluing pinto beans onto a coloring page, where first you draw little dots and you teach them what a drop of glue looks like. And so they work on doing dots. They put beans all over the page. You can take a colander upside down and they put the colander in it to make crazy hair. They can play with Play-Doh, stickers, stencils, spirographs. Dating myself a little bit, we had a lot of Discovery toys back then. So we'd pull out special Discovery toy activities or crafts and just start watching, especially at the thrift stores, and just go through your office supplies and see if you can't put together busy bags and playstations that will keep them, they only need to be busy for like 10 minutes at a time. And over time, they will rest during the day. They will look at books because that's the only option that they have besides sleeping at rest time. And they'll learn to move through a day with rhythm and routine, where they do an activity and then they clean up. And then they do an activity and then they take a break. And then they repeat that. And you're teaching routine and order and just this confidence in how they will carry themselves. So I will drop a link in the descriptions for some activity ideas that are out on our blog, A Better Way to Homeschool. And let me know if you have something that works beautifully in your home. Let me know if you try any of these tips. And I just want to encourage you, this season of littles feels like forever, but it is a blink. It goes by so fast. My little guy that painted my bathroom with red nail polish because I wasn't very good that particular day at keeping him busy is getting ready to go away to college. I mean, and it was yesterday that I was trying to figure out how to get the nail polish off the toilet. So I've been there, I've done that. You're gonna make it. Let me know if you have any other specific questions or you need more ideas, and I will see you in the next video.